they have cognition problems, so a lot of them have some degree of mental retardation, and also they have behavior problems. All the children with cerebral palsy need to have physical therapy to improve their movements. But majority of children do not like physical therapy because it sometimes is boring. Every child likes to play computer games, so the idea of combining computer games with physical therapy is a long one. And according to recent, not so recent research, the rehabilitation computer games are combining very important components that are required for motor learning. First of all, it's repeated and consistent practice of the same task. Computer games give the possibility to track the movement precision, movement accuracy. Games have real-time feedback. It's very important that the game we can adjust optimal challenge level in the games. In the games it's possible to record and analyze performance, and also interesting games make therapy more fun and engaging. The games for cerebral palsy and motor disorders and some other related diseases are not the same games as for healthy adults. And there are several requirements for the games for disabled children. First of all, they do not, we have to avoid fast pace in the movement because they have problems. The games should not require precise timing. In the games for children with cerebral palsy, there should be relatively simple control scheme. The games should not require multiple simultaneous actions. They should be relatively not so difficult to control. Also, the games should avoid repeated inputs, so something like button mashing, so pressing the button very often. In some cases, the games are automating players' input. The games are helping the patient to perform certain games in certain movements, and also those games should still be entertaining and fun. So physical therapy of cerebral palsy is a long-term process, and it requires a long-time sustainable motivation. And rehabilitation games need to be entertaining and fun. They should be games, not just the exercises. Just a moment. So we will. I'll tell you general features of the Stasism platform, and we will switch the computers and show the games by itself. So first of all, the Stasism platform is providing entertaining and therapeutic games. Those games can be used both in the clinic and at home. Games, it's very important, have individual adjusted difficulties. Also, patients with cerebral palsy have a wide range of movement disorders, and we need to, the game should be suitable for that child. Also, there are some integrated diagnostic tools that we will show you, and also to promote social communication between patients and to provide more motivation. There are some of the games our partners are developing to play multiplayer games. So the child could play with another child or child could play with the parent. In the system we are using low-cost, commercially available hardware. It's balance board. Many of you, I suppose, know it. And also, we are using webcam. A little bit later, we will show you the games, different games, and it's very important that the games should be individually adjusted to the movement possibility of the patients. In all the games we have 10-point scale to adjust to the movement possibilities of the child, and also there is a level editor so the therapist could develop custom levels, custom series of levels for this particular child. And the games have officially 10 levels, and also therapists could create their own levels, and those levels could be personal or could be shared between other users. Also, main point of these games are aimed at balance improvement, and in the platform also the diagnostic tools are integrated. There are static balance tests. Its aim is to objectively assess patients' stability, and it's similar to classical stabilometry test that is measuring sway of body movement during quiet standing. Patients stand still on the board, trying not to move with eyes open, and there is 3 trials each 10 seconds duration, and it's used only for those patients that could stand independently. It's screen of the results, and there are important stabilometry parameters calculated in it. Also, we are using a dynamic balance test. In this dynamic balance test is measured the ability to transfer the projection of the center of gravity around the supporting base of support. Patients shift their center of pressure left and right, and they should hold the certain position for 3 seconds. It's suitable for the patients of cerebral palsy and can be performed in different positions, including standing with support and sitting. Also, we have multiplayer modes. So now we will have 2 minutes time. We will switch the computer and continue.
So now we continue with the presentation of the features of the platform that that were mentioned by Dr. Ola. Just a few minutes to reconnect laptop. That is, we show you on the screen the features of the platform, and I will use it, I will play the games for you to see how actually we use it with our patients. So let's start from the connecting, because it was an issue for us, because our target group is families and therapists, so people even without any technical background should do it easily. And plus it also works. It connects through the platform. Also we have calibration of the balance board itself, and calibration of the user. For this purpose, the player should step on the platform, and after that to perform the calibration, to move to the left and to the right, and after that to forward and backward. Of course, we have different patients with different movement abilities, and children can perform this calibration by standing with support, kneeling on the board, or sitting, depending on the motor abilities. So continue. Now the balance board is calibrated for my range of movements. And now I think we can start with the games. One of our game is Crazy Racing. So the child can manage this game and manage the game character. Now I should stand still. We can select the character. Good choice. Let's see. Maybe now, yes, without sound, but you guys can fix it. Yes, I am not very good in racing games, but nevertheless, yes, I can see. Yes, the first levels are undefeatable. You cannot crash, so we also can change it and arrange it for the abilities of the patient, because we have also in our rehabilitation unity some children with genocidal 3 and 4, and for them it's very important that the level will be suitable for them and not too frustrating when they lose, for example, games. Also, I can... Oh! Super feature. Yes, if you go forward, the nitro is start. I think we can try another one with sound. Another map. You need some time for neutral power will be collected, and after that you can apply it one more time. Also in the left corner you can see the whole map of your road. And in the end we have the race time. So thank you. I think we can go further for another game. Another game will be, I think, this Super Surf game. It has different modes, single player and cooperation mode. But now we can show you the single player mode of this game. In this game, in the previous game, Crazy Racing, we were more in left-right movements, and here we have also forward-backward control. Let's start from level 2, and I should collect the stars. Yes. You should avoid sharp objects. Yes, it's during the game we can adjust the level, the difficulty. I'm not very good in collecting stars, so Yanis helped me. Again, now I play this game standing, but you can also play it sitting on the platform. Different positions. Yes, and also you can see the map in the right corner. In the right upper corner, and you can see where you can gather all the stars to go to the next level. That's it. Complete. I think we can another ones. One more level. I missed it. Okay, and I think that we can go on to another game, maybe Hungary, because it's quite simple. It can be used for small children. For example, in our case, children that are 6, 7 years old like these games very much. Also, it's some kind of cognitive training, because in this game you should avoid bad objects and collect good ones. So let's see. So in this game, yes, you should just go to the left and to the right and collect items that you can eat and avoid items that you can't eat. So very
simple, but levels are different and background is different as well, and objects. So for children it's really interesting. And yes, it can be used for small children. Okay, and also I would like to show you the video. The video game that is played by hand. Because in our platform, not all games are played using balance board. Some of them can be managed by hand movements or mouse movements. And now we show you the game that can control by hand movements. I also would like to note that now presented just like that, but when we play these games with kids, kids are very often in the sitting position and the hand is in the support, because for children it's too difficult to have the hand like that, and they need some support for it. Yes, I think we can start with the calibration. Okay, right hand, yes. Left, okay. Yes, I listen. Yes. Maybe little closer, yes. Some conditions, for example, lighting and background affects it. For example, in our training room, it's good lighting. Yes, maybe because of lighting, because it really affects. More time. Yes, and the background should be smooth and better is it will be dark without any lightings. Maybe problems with laptop. Yes, maybe we.
The working version is the exhibition at the booth, so you can always come there and see. Because it's not always version.
Because every game has its own level editor. Yanis has already showed you that during the play you can arrange the level to make it more easier, but beforehand you can also change some features in the level editor. Yanis can show you it on the screen. We can create our story for every patient. And we can create a level. You can see different features that we can change. We can change the background, level type, for example, now it's time limit, maximum amount of object that the child can collect, the object speed, the maximum amount of objects, duration of one game session for the level. We can select food according to the favorite food of the child. Also bad items that they should avoid. The number can be different. Specials, also special bonus. And to adjust the drop probability, missed score and collected score. Okay. Oh, sounds okay. Okay. So yes, we also can play with mouse, and it's our level that we now created, and we can play it and to look how it works, and also adjust it a little bit if we should change something. Okay. And now we can show you the diagnostic tools. I remind you that we have a static balance test and a dynamic balance test. Let's start from the static balance. It can be used only for children that can stand still. So for children with GNFCS 1 or maybe GNFCS 2. Okay, and also a dynamic balance test. It measures the dynamic balance of the child with forward-backward or left-right movement. Also, we can use these games for children with different motor abilities. You should be in this orange area, stay still for several seconds. Also, you can adjust this diagnostic tool according to what you would like to assess, because for some patients one movement can be worse than another one. It's much more important for left-right dynamic balance test, because the child can be with hemiparesis, and for us it can be very important to check more one side than another. Okay, and also about static balance, we also would like to show it to you. We should step on the balance board to stay at the red button and stay still. It resembles a stability. Step off because we have several attempts. But again, it should be only for children that can independently stand. And also in the end of the test we have data. We show it a little bit later when tell you about our clinical study. So in a few minutes we continue with the presentation because we would like to share you our experience of using of the Stasism platform in our pilot sites. Tell you about our clinical study, about feedback, first previous feedback of the users, and about clinical cases that we have in our rehabilitation clinic. Now we use the Stasism platform in different pilot sites in different countries of Europe to evaluate different contexts of the using of the Stasism platform. It was used in 4 pilot sites in Ukraine, in a rehabilitation center, international clinical rehabilitation that are situated in the western part of Ukraine, in Lviv and Lviv region, a Ukrainian medical rehabilitation center in Kyiv, in the capital of Ukraine, and Cerebral Children's Rehabilitation Center that is situated on the north in Kyiv city. Also, it's used in Spain, in Fundación Lesniga and Tolerable Camp, and the responsible partner of those pilot sites is University Vera Vergili and in St. Gabriel School in Ireland, and the responsible partner for it is MAC. But unfortunately, you know about the war in Ukraine, and for example, unfortunately for Ukrainian Medical Rehabilitation Center and Cerebral Children's Rehabilitation Center, they postponed their work, and so now we have only 2 pilot sites in Ukraine. It's our rehabilitation facility, a rehabilitation center. It provides treatment to children with cerebral palsy and other movement disorders. We have 4 medical doctors and up to 15 physical therapists in our staff. We have up to 1,000 children per year with different movement disorders. And the computer game therapy is the part of the usual rehabilitation in our facility. But unfortunately, now we have very tough and unique experience. We have war, and it also affects our using of the Stasism platform because according to the UNICEF data, more than 4.8 million children from Ukraine fled the country, including kids with disabilities. So the number of children in our facility decreased. Also, as I mentioned, 2 pilot sites are temporarily closed because of war. Some professionals also left the country, also because of different focus on the healthcare in our country, and that people and families don't have access in occupied territories that have active military actions there. Number of congenital and acquired disability expected to rise. And also another problem is that number of internal refugees increases in the relatively safe regions of Ukraine. But we would like to assure you that we still fight with support of the whole world. Our children still receive rehabilitation. They play serious games, including games from the Stasism platform, and we continue working, even if it's from the shelter. We continue working on our conference abstracts and continue have our patients even in the basement of our clinic. And now I would like to show you 2 clinical cases that we have in our facility using the Stasism platform. It's one of our patients. His name is Vitaly. He's a nice guy, 11 years old. His diagnosis is cerebral palsy, left hemiparesis. His level, according to manual ability classification system, is 3. So he can handle objects with difficulty, and he needs some help or preparations or modifications of activities. And his therapeutic aim in our clinic was to improve all the hand movements, to acquire new skills. He dreamed to ride a bike, and 2-week training of the left hand movements with the Stasism platform helped with this aim, because we have several games where we can train these movements that can help him to actually ride a bike. Also meet Volodya. He is 9 years old. He is diagnosed with cerebral palsy, spastic quadriplegia. His gross motor function classification system level is 3. Volodya walks using a handheld mobility device in most indoor settings, and he was playing the games sitting on the chair and sitting on the board. His therapeutic aim in our center was to improve the control of the wheelchair, because he and his family would like to be more independent in his daily life. And we trained it with the help of the Stasism platform, because we trained left, right, forward, backward movements, and improvement of his balance helped him to gain more control of their wheelchair. And now we also would like to show you some results of our research study. Aim of our study was to assess the changes of balance functions in children with cerebral palsy after 2-week daily training with personalized balance games on the Stasism platform. We had 2 groups in this study. Experimental group that played personalized computer games with balancing movements on the balance board, and the control group was playing standard commercial Nintendo Wii games with a handheld remote. On this slide you can see the characteristics of the participants. 13 children were in the experimental group and 12 children in the control group. The mean age was about 11 years. And the prevailing diagnosis was spastic quadriplegia. And we have patients with level 1, 2, 3 in both groups, according to GMFCS classification system. Outcome measures. The primary outcome measure was the trunk control measurement scale, and the secondary ones were timed up and go test, the static balance test, and the dynamic balance test that are embedded in the Stasism platform. Let's start from the trunk control measurement scale. It's a clinical test to evaluate trunk control in children with cerebral palsy. Items of the scale cover different aspects of static balance, selective movement control, and dynamic vision. And maximal score of this tool is 58 points. Timed up and go test. It's a very popular tool used to evaluate the functional mobility. While the instructor fixes time, the patient stands up from the chair, walks, turns, and walks back and sits down. And also the static balance test. Actually, you can see the data that we have in the end of the test, and we collected it. And in the study, we consider center of pressure displacement. And the dynamic balance test. We remind you that child should stand on the Nintendo balance board and shift the center of gravity to the left and to the right for this test. And the score is the time left. So results for trunk control measurement scale. In the experimental group, we noticed a statistically significant improvement of 4.5 points. And in the control group, there was also an improvement of 2.1 points, but it was not statistically significant. For timed up and go test, median values of timed up and go test result decreased by 1 second in the experimental group, and it was not statistically significant. And in the control group, the difference was 0 seconds. It's the result of the static balance test, center of pressure path length, and a decrease of the median of the path length by 160 millimeters. In the experimental group was noted, but it wasn't statistically significant as well in the control group. But for dynamic balance test, median values improved by 0.88 points for the experimental group. And this change had a medium effect size of 0.75. And we had the publication of these findings in the Journal of Pediatric Rehabilitation Medicine. So you can find it in details in this publication. And also, for us, it's very important to gather the feedback of our users. So we created the pilot central questionnaire, and we collected the opinions of the therapists, of the families for our status platform. We asked about technical requirements because, of course, for us it's very important that it should be easy to families and therapists to connect balance boards, to use the games, about ethical aspects, platform installation and use, testing the games, and also we asked about overall impression. You can see the results of the overall impression of the Stasism games evaluation. More answers were for good and very good, and 3 were neutral. And answers were that games are engaging, have good graphics and rapid quick reaction, so they don't get boring fast. And also they noticed that music and graphics is really fun. Also about integrated diagnostic tools that we showed you, static balance test and dynamic balance test. Most answers were for good and very good. And it's an overall impression about the whole platform. Some answers were that it has also good graphics and music, and games are interesting and look good. So, conclusion and present, games are continually being tested in 5 pilot sites in different contexts and countries. Games are used as a part of the usual therapy now in the Rehabilitation Center and International Rehabilitation in Ukraine. Overall impression of the users of the platform are mostly good and excellent. And the clinical study of the platform describes changes in the balance functions, in particular in trunk control and dynamic balance of children with cerebral palsy during a 2-week treatment with the Stasism serious games. And in the future, we plan to continue evaluating the effects of the games. For example, for us it will be interesting to evaluate the changes after training in home settings. So now we can also check the hands-on demo.
Thank you, Anna, for excellent presentation. Our colleague to prepare for the computer for the demonstration. We will, in several minutes, we will invite you to try games yourself. And in the meantime, maybe you have some questions, and we will try to answer the questions. Calibration. It's calibration, for example, for the range of possible movements, for the patient is pressing one body part of the movement. Then, for example, he would not be moving symmetrical. So all the games include calibration for the certain movements. Board to the child would be tied. And personally, we do not have made any special study, but in our clinical practice, hours clinic. We are using it's half an hour per day. It's daily training. In that study, we have used 2 weeks of treatment. That's because the children are coming up to our center for a 2-week intensive courses, and that's why we have used 2 weeks. And the third question, how long does it last? We suppose if you have learned to move your balance, shift your weights, it will last. But we also do not have discussion. So we would like to invite somebody to try the games. Who is volunteer? Please.
Nice. What is your name? Nice to meet you. What do you like to try? What game or diagnostic tool or Rehab? Okay, maybe something new. We can start with a game. Do you like music? We have a game with the music. You can yes, in this game, you can shift your weight to the left, to the right. Beforehand, we will make a calibration of you. Yes, start. And with the movements to the left and to the right, the melody will be created. Yes. There is no sound, and it's very important. So, prepare. Yes, if you lose some notes, yes, you will lose your points, and if you do it in the best you can, you will have the high score. Yes, we have. Yes, we have different songs and melodies. So we can change the melody to another one. Yes, we can recalibrate. It's automatic, yes. It will be better if you grab the note and wait until the tail ends, you know? Okay. Perfect. Yes. Challenging, but we can change it. Also, the game with the hand works, so we can try another one with the hand. Is it okay? Nice. In this game, you play with the hand, and you move which that will connect the objects. What game would you like to play? Maybe something that we tried already? Something else? Okay. Yes. In this game, you should grab the ball, and if you do it and grab the coins, picture will appear. It's like a puzzle game. We have the game for the left-right movements, and we have also this puzzle game for the forward-backward movements. And you have 3 attempts. Yeah, very good. Yes, it also has a story of traveling, of space traveling on the cat. So for the kids, it's very interesting to continue playing and to open the next level and to see what the next. Yes, in 1 hour. Yes, yes. Too many of them, and it's impossible to collect all of them, but you can try. it's often competitive for them because they remember their score, and for the next day they try to beat themselves with a higher score. We would like to also show you that we can change the background intensity, because a child can have cerebral visual impairment and other vision difficulties, so we can change it, and sometimes it's more easy to play with a different background. Yes. Thank you, Anna. Someone maybe. Yes. Okay, Michael, nice to meet you. Do you have some preferences? What do you like to play or try? Alright, good choice.
As well as one of the engineers who helped develop these games, both there to help sort of guide the process and make sure that everything is well calibrated and whatnot. What is the sort of interaction between the kid and then the sort of team?
Okay, in our facility it's typical to have a physical therapy or medical doctor to start the computer game therapy, but we have time beforehand to have connections with our technical guys, and they help us with adjusting it. And when we have some bugs during our rehabilitation, we send these bugs and we discuss it, and every family knows that it's like testing. Some features can work, some no, and they signed the assent form for it, so it works like that. Yes. And in our facility we also have software developers that help us with some issues, some correct issues. Yes. Okay.
We'll see.
You like challenges, yeah?
And I'm not afraid to fail.
You can go forward, yes, to accelerate. Quick, but quick.
Oh.
Oh.
About children with a little bit of ataxia, for example, it's automatically the understanding that when you bend on one side, it makes the car, for example, go right and left. this connection between the movement and the game?
Thank you for the question. In our facility, yes, there are children with different movement disorders. We have some of them with apraxia, but more of them don't have this problem. Yes, it's quite intuitive for them. Sometimes we have it, and we try to handle it, for example, with background intensity changes, and sometimes it helps. But yes, it's quite intuitive, so we don't have many problems with it. So thank you, Luca. Okay, we have not much time. Maybe some other questions? Okay.
For the calibration, that the clinician who just looks at the child and thinks, well, this will be good, or is there a protocol for it with cut-off measurements? How to adjust the calibrations?
When the child has his or her initial computer game therapy session, firstly, they perform static balance diagnostic tool assessment and dynamic balance test assessment, and some initial game, and if clinician can see how we can change the difficulty level, because we have some guidelines that we have already prepared, depending on the motor ability of the child, depending on the accompanying disturbances of this kid. So yes, the first session is about, I think, more about assessments and about trying.
But you have guidelines, that is like...
Yes. In this point we have it, and we, our pilot sites have it as well.
Do you train the people who can break in those guidelines and just give them?
Yes, so we have online meetings, and for we are responsible partner for the pilot sites in Ukraine. So from time to time we have trainings and we have meetings to handle all these things. Thank you. Yes, and finally, we also would like to show you the cooperation mode, because we have not only single player mode in some of the games, but also multiplayer modes, cooperation modes, and player versus player. And now we will play with Dr. Ole. He will play with the mouse, and I will play with the balance board. First. Yes, very important to do it simultaneously. So now, yes, we can see that the number of rates increases.
Okay, thank you very much for attending our workshop. We invite everyone to the exhibition, exhibition of the Stasism platform. And you can every time come there and play more games and ask our colleagues more questions.
So
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.